Hello. Why is my thing's making noise? Is this because of the duck thing?
Maybe.
I've not taken this hoodie off in a month and a half.
And then when you're done, you feel the most shamed ever.
There we go. Always professional.
What the fuck is even happening?
Classic sort of story.
It came out to high critical acclaim, and it's Pokemon Snap.
If you press the tank, it goes.
Like, what is going
Buddy,
on?
I was on edibles. Not a pornography. This is a podcast.
And you got the name wrong again. I like your duck shirt.
Thanks. It's a duck.
Welcome to Two Dads and a Podcast. Oh, dude, I had a whole deep raspy voice thing ready to go.
Look,
and you interrupted me.
You know what? You're gonna have to shelve it. Because I don't think we talk enough about how Pokemon eat other Pokemon, and it's just a fact.
I mean, people.
And we don't discuss it. We just let it go on without talking about it. And then I find out people eat Pokemon too. Not like just like the Slowpoke tail that grows back. Like, man, I wonder how Magikarp tastes.
Probably like our fish. Pokemon are just animals. It's just their version of animals.
But they have like magic powers, man.
Like
maybe
cockfighting in the Pokemon world isn't illegal. That's all it is.
But we're not talking about Pokemon today.
No, we're not.
I just had to get that off my chest.
See, man, I want to do it, but now it's lost.
It's ruined. I ruined the moment.
You did. No, this week we are revisiting trading card games in a very unique way.
In a fun way, man. Because you had thrown out like picking our favorite cards, and to be honest, that just kind of overwhelmed me, the idea of that. So I came up with a way to sort of narrow down that card pool.
And I still kind of want to revisit the favorite card idea, but maybe just with specific sets, like new sets as they come out. We don't have to revisit old ones.
Yeah.
This time around, we are visiting the banned and restricted list of Magic the Gathering.
We're starting with Magic, man. We had to, because it's your favorite, obviously.
It is. Yeah.
I'm just getting into it this past year, but I really enjoy the game. And it's got such a unique flavor compared to all the other ones. So I think it's a great one to start out with.
The art, the cards, the flavor text, like there's so much to Magic the Gathering cards beyond just what their abilities are. But we're not talking about that. We just want to know what the most broken ass cards in the game are. And I believe I went first last week.
So my first is strictly because of its troll ability. And it's not that it's a broken card that'll win you the game. But man, I'm a massive troll, and I would have loved this card when it first came out. And it's Shahrazad.
This card is... It's weird, man. It's weird and it's great. And
is it the longest subtext of any card that they've ever printed?
No, believe it or not. But
it's a mouthy one. It's a wordy one.
It's only wordy because of when it came out. It's Oracle text, which is what the modern way of saying it would be with the current state of Magic is literally players play a Magic subgame using their libraries as their decks. Each player who doesn't win the subgame loses half their life rounded up. So it is literally Magic Gameception. It is Inception. You are playing a game within your game. And you know what?
You can end up playing a game within a game within a game. Like this, this card can get extreme. And
you can have up to 4.
I fucking love that.
When this came out, you could potentially have up to 4 of these in your deck. So if you were able to get all 4 off, you were playing a game within your game, within your game, within your game, within your game.
Now, this was one of a handful of cards that was the first set of cards banned for Magic. And it wasn't just banned once. It was banned twice. Once in 94 and then again in 2007. They brought it back and they were like, oh, yeah.
That's why this was banned, yeah. And the thing is, so a lot of these banned cards are banned in certain formats restricted in others or completely legal in other formats.
Right.
Not Shahrazad. Shahrazad is banned. It is not legal in any format besides kitchen table casual. And
because it is, man, and if you're playing more than 2 players and shit like this,
it gets a little ridiculous.
It just gets bad. And so obviously banned for a reason. Glad it's banned, because I would just, man, troll the fuck out of some people. In matches, I would probably lose.
So for those of you who are watching the YouTube video, and for those of you who are listening and can't read the really tiny text on the card, because we have it shown on the YouTube video. For those of you who are just listening and want the original printed text, this is the way it reads. Players must leave game in progress as it is and use the cards left in their libraries as decks with which to play a subgame of Magic. When subgame is over, players shuffle these cards, return them to libraries, and resume game in progress, with any loser of subgame having his or her remaining life points rounding down. Effects that prevent damage may not be used to counter this loss of life. The subgame has no ante. Using less than 40 cards may be necessary.
And so a game that can already take up to hours is taking hours more. And it's not like this card's hard to get off. It only costs 2 mana. Like,
yeah, it's obnoxiously cheap for what it is. It's really cheap for what it is.
That's, I mean, obvious reason why it's on my list is, yeah. And I'll be honest, going through all the banned lists, there aren't many cards that are completely banned. Outright
Not completely banned. There are some, so we'll start this off because you've mentioned it. There are cards that are completely banned simply because of the format that they were originally used in makes no sense in other formats. So cards like the conspiracy type cards, they literally do not work in any format besides conspiracy, and conspiracy isn't a format that is a regular rotating format or anything. Same things with playing for ante. Anything that had ante, which was a very old concept for the game, they removed that because gambling your cards away is not good for the health of the game. And then I will say a very progressive, and I'm very happy they did this. They banned any card whose art, text, name, or combination that is racially or culturally offensive are banned in all formats. It's not a very long list. It is 7 cards. But the fact that they're taking that step of avoiding any sort of racism and cultural, culturally offensive stereotypes, I love that they banned those cards and honestly, they weren't really great cards to begin with, so it doesn't really matter. But now we're on to my number 1. So my number 1 is
5.
Oh, my number 5.
From the bottom and working your way up.
Yeah, totally. No, my number 5, my first card. My number 5 is interesting. It is a newer set. It was released. Hang on. I thought I heard knocking, so hold tight. I'll be right back.
I'll do my juggling act. I don't have a juggling act. So I'll just entertain you the only way I know possible. Wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. You could cut ties with all the lies that you've been living now. If you do not want to see me again, I would understand. Oh, I would understand And all I know are Third Eye Blind songs. Sorry. It's the only band I listen to. I said it live, so it's canon now for 2DAP. He has no idea what's going on right now, and nor should he. This is a private moment between us, and so it's just a private thing that we get to live, and he'll never know. Oh, hey.
I mean,
hey, bud.
I've got the recording. Are you telling more stories about the kobold?
No. I sang the I sang them a tune. I kept them entertained.
Gotcha. All right.
All one of me.
Anyway, so my number 5 is an interesting card, only because it released. Let's see. In the Modern Horizons set that released in 2019, it is a very new card in relative to a lot of the cards that we're talking about. It released with this set. Modern Horizons was a set of cards that was supposed to spark and add new flavor and fun to the modern format. This card has only been printed in Modern Horizons 1. And then very quickly, subsequently, was banned from Modern. And it's not the only one. There were
how
quite
could
a
they
few.
have foreseen this?
Yeah,
No.
there were quite a few cards actually that were from Modern Horizons that were banned from the format they were supposed to be created for.
Right.
Mine is Arkham's Astrolabe. It is a common card.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
I know this card.
This one is so unique in why it's banned. It broke the format in such a way that it made everything so much better in any deck that it was played in. So it only costs 1 snow mana, and it's no snow mana of any color. So snow mana can be paid with a mana of any snow permanent that taps. So there are snow lands, there are artifacts. So it costs 1. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. There are plenty of other cards that are 1 for 1. You play it down, you get a card. But they cost a little more mana. There's other downfalls. It's not just 1 mana, draw a card, and it has mana fixing.
Yeah.
Pay 1 colorless, tap, add 1 mana of any color. So for the rest of the game, if you get this down on turn 1, you're never going to be without at least 1 color of any color mana that you need. You need a green to pay your next, but you only have a red on the field. Cool. I've got a green now because I turned that red into a green. There were decks that were playing this card that had very, very few dual color lands to fix their mana that way, that played this card simply because it allowed them to pay for cards that cost 2 of 1 color with no downsides.
Right. And it has come in it. So that's a bonus.
I mean,
yeah, this card was ridiculous, and it was like on my list of like honorable mentions, and it's brought up by so often by everybody who's like, this card is
it's so simple. It's such a simple card, but it's so powerful for 1 mana and a common.
Yeah.
And a common. They didn't mean for it to be this powerful, but it is. And that's why it's on my list, because it was created for a format, specifically for a format.
Yeah.
And then subsequently banned from that format. It's legal in Vintage, it's legal in Commander, and namely in those because there are so many more things that can answer for a card like this. It's not super powerful, but it is banned in Modern, Legacy, and it's banned in Pauper. Pauper is no uncommons or rares or mythics. It's only common cards. So you build a deck out of only commons.
Right.
This is such a powerful common card.
You can't have as many copies of it, obviously, in some of those other formats.
Well, yeah,
too.
Commander, you can only have 1 copy of it. Vintage, you could have up to 4, but there are so many more powerful cards in Vintage.
Right.
doesn't break the format like it does modern.
Right.
I thought it was hilarious that they created these modern cards.
And it's a visually cool looking card.
It is.
At that.
It is.
So I'll give it that too.
But then they banned them from the format they were created for. It's great. It's great. So what's your number 4 then?
So moving on to mine is Tolarian Academy, and this one for obvious reasons. Again, I accidentally picked another old card, and most of mine are old cards, and they have subsequently made other versions of this card that aren't so broken. But this one, it's simple. Again, another simple card. Add water
Blue mana. It's
a water drop. Give me a break.
It's a legendary land, so you can only have one on the field at any given time.
Right.
Tap, add blue to your mana pool equal to each artifact that you control.
Yeah. And so when you're running this style of deck,
artifact decks are insanely powerful with stuff like if you have this kind of ramp. It gets
out of control.
So many artifacts that cost 0, that cost 1. There's an entire set of artifact lands, which subsequently they're not on either of our lists, but they're all banned in lots of formats because artifact lands count towards the mana that you get from this. 0 cost artifacts, 1 cost artifacts. There are artifacts that have what's called affinity, which means they cost less for each artifact on the field. So if it has affinity and its mana cost is 4, you have 4 artifacts, you play it for free. And now your amount of mana that you tap for goes up. And the ramp on this card is obnoxious. And
it's not completely banned, but it's still legal in Vintage, but it's restricted.
It's restricted. You can only have 1 in your deck.
Yeah.
And for a good reason.
Obviously, dude. And Tolarian Academy is widely known in Magic the Gathering. It's one of the most one of the most well-known cards in the game, and I think most of my list is like that only because
this is one of those cards that not only is it's banned in Legacy, it's restricted in Vintage, but it's actually banned in Commander because of how powerful it is. That's it. Like, those are the only formats that you could have possibly been able to use it in, and it's banned or restricted in all of them. For a very, very good reason.
It's a cool ass card though.
It is. I like that. What's the flavor text on that? The Academy worked with time until time ran out. I like that. I love flavor text on cards. There's just so much more. Like I said, so much more to the card beyond just what's printed on it. So my number 4 is again a more recent card. It's 2019, and this one was banned quick. And for very good reason. This card broke the game.
What is it? Oh.
It is a Planeswalker that only costs 3. 1 green and blue. And it comes out with 4 loyalty counters on it. And that is Oko, Thief of Crowns.
Yeah.
I loved this card.
This dude is crazy.
This card is way too powerful. Way too powerful. And there's no way of breaking him down. So there are 6 formats that you could have possibly used Oko in. Oko is banned in all but 2 of them. Because the 2 he's legal in, Vintage and Commander, there are so many more answers for him. But in Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, and Historic, he breaks the format. This one card, when this game came out in Standard, if you weren't playing an Oko deck, you literally had to play a deck that was meant to combat Oko. There were two decks in the metagame at the time. It was Oko and beat Oko. And the big reason...
It really simplifies things, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, if you're unfamiliar with Planeswalkers, they have usually abilities that add loyalty counters or take them away. If they have 0, they get destroyed. So, +2, create a food token. Food has pay 2, tap it, sacrifice it, you gain 3 life. So it's kind of, hey, I'm just going to keep gaining life. Well, that's not what broke the format. That in and of itself, not too bad. What broke the format is the +1 ability. So he has 2 pluses, +2, +1. The +1 is target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3. That's completely broken. Loses all abilities and becomes a 3/3 elk. So first, you can completely shut down combos and shit that are going on the other side of on your opponent's side of the field. Because, you have this super powerful card that lets you do this, 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 and this. Nope, now it's a 3/3 elk. Yep, there you go. Or you get this down on turn 3. Or actually, in the format, it's so easy to get it down on as early as turn 2 because it only costs 3 mana. So you get this down on turn 2. You start off by creating a food token. Well, your next turn, turn it into a 3/3 elk. Next turn, create a food token. Next one, you get another 3/3 elk. Every 2 turns, you're getting a free 3/3 elk.
Right, early on.
Early in the game. It is so difficult to combat. And then, I haven't even gone over its last ability, which is -5. Exchange control of target artifact or creature you control and target creature an opponent controls with power 3 or less. So, I create a food, and I give you the food, and I take your creature. Here you go. This is an even trade, right?
No, because abilities.
Yeah, it's super broken, and I was super happy that it was banned because I was playing really hard on Magic Arena when this came out, and the second I would see it come down, I would just be like, "All right, I'm done." I stopped playing for a while until it was banned. Yeah, because it's that strong.
Another visually really cool looking card.
Oh yeah, I mean
he's a cool character.
Oko is great. He's just that. He's the Thief of Crowns. He's a planeswalker. He's got cool magic abilities, and his art is awesome. And he's got another card that is not near as powerful as this one that has art that's just as good. So yeah, Oko banned.
Well.
For a reason. My
number 3 is another one that's just fucking shit. So Ancestral Recall.
Ancestral Recall.
Cost 1 blue. Target player draws 3 cards.
Well, I've got something for you because my number 3 is Ancestral Recall. And I use different art for each of ours so we can show off the old stuff and the newer printed version. This card is overpowered. Dude. Beyond overpowered. 1 mana, draw 3 cards. If you play Magic, you are aware that card advantage is everything. The more cards you can draw, the faster you get your combos, the faster you get mana. It's just better in every single way. Now, it goes beyond being a 1 mana cost, draw 3 cards, because it's an instant on top of it. You can cast this anytime. You can cast it on an opponent's turn. You can cast it in the middle of the damage step or in combat before you draw your cards for turn at the end of an opponent's turn. Like,
obviously, there are plenty of banned cards that will let you untap. There are cards that will let you untap whenever you need to. And so if you're tapped, get a card to untap. Use it whenever the fuck you need to.
Yeah, this thing combos into so many things. It is banned in Legacy, banned in Commander, and restricted in Vintage. You can only have one in your deck. And honestly, that one sometimes can be more than you need because there's stuff that allows you to cast cards from your graveyard. This card is obnoxious. This was only printed 4 times. Limited edition alpha, limited edition beta, unlimited edition, and then Vintage Masters. And Vintage Masters...
I said that on mute.
Did you?
Yes.
Nice. Was an online-only version of Magic. So it wasn't actually printed in Vintage Masters, which means if you want this for your Vintage deck, you are paying bare minimum. Let's see. What does TCG Player have this at?
Couple.
Let's see. What's the cheapest one for Ancestral Recall on
couple hundred?
Let's try $3,700.
Oh, that's a lot of cheddar.
Yeah. It has never been reprinted since Unlimited in Magic, and there's a reason. If it gets printed in a standard format, it will break that format the second it's printed. So it's just not worth doing ever again.
Well, that's a pricey card there.
Yeah. That's one of the, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's one of the Power 9. The Power 9 are like the most broken cards. Yeah, that's one of the Power 9.
And my number 2 is the most expensive. And that is Black Lotus.
Black Lotus. Not to be confused with the unglued variant, Blacker Lotus, which in order to use its ability, you have to rip the card into pieces. It's obnoxious.
That's amazing.
Black Lotus. 0 mana. Tap for 3 color of any 3 mana of any color and sacrifice it. That means turn 1, you can potentially have 4 mana.
Yeah, I mean, you're already... Oh my gosh. The advantage you get right there is you can lay out so much on turn 1 with this card, and it really escalates things. Like,
oh my god. Dude, a 4/4 a 4 mana creature on turn 1 is obnoxious and can win you the game literally turn 1. There are combos with this card that you can literally win the second you get your opening hand.
Yeah.
And it's stupid.
To me, that's...
It's not
It's
fun.
ridiculous.
Like, that's the thing. With some of these cards, it's just not fun to play against.
Right, which is what they're trying to prevent, is making the game not fun. For obvious reasons. It's banned in just about everything. It's restricted in Vintage, just like most of the cards on our list.
Yeah, the Power 9 that I mentioned, the Power 9 is restricted in Vintage. You can only have one of each of the Power 9. And there's a very, very good reason for it. This card...
What is it going for? Like 15,000 right now?
And that's on a very low end.
Right.
There have been versions of this card that have sold for over 100,000. Like, it's crazy. This is the Shadowless First Edition Charizard of Magic the Gathering.
On crack.
Yeah. Because it's that powerful. That's a great banned card. It is ridiculous to see. Nobody is ever going to play this card again because of how ridiculous it is. So,
but that one. That's the one where when I started this list, I'm like, I know this one for sure. I know this one. You know.
See, I almost put it on mine, but it's so obvious, and I had a feeling that it would have been on yours. So I was just like, you know what?
I was going to keep it off, but there were some others that we'll go through, mention a few others without getting too much into the details of them. But what am I gonna do? I have a list where this isn't on it?
Yeah. This one we can just kind of imagine. It's my honorary number 6. It's just a guaranteed to be on the top of the banned lists. So
it's
another one that's guaranteed to be on those banned lists is my number 2. And it was also only printed in alpha, beta, and unlimited with an online reprint of Vintage Masters. And that's Time Walk.
Yeah.
This one's very simple. Take an extra turn after this one.
Right.
For 2 mana.
2
mana. So on turn 2, you get an extra turn. You get an entire turn up on your opponent. On turn 2.
That's if you play it once.
In any card game, any game in general that is turn-based, if you get 2 turns in a row, you have such an advantage on your opponent. It's ridiculous.
As we've said, like, it doesn't disappear after you use it. It's still...
Yeah, this one doesn't exile after you use it. Most newer cards, because there actually are a lot of cards. There's even, an honorable mention in this, take extra turn cards that just got banned in Standard, All-Ruined Epiphany. This one is a pretty crazy card in and of itself. Create 2 1/1 blue creature tokens with flying, take an extra turn, but you have to exile the card, and it costs 7 to cast it. So this is a mid-late game card. That one just got banned. That's how big taking an extra turn is in Magic the Gathering. That a card
doesn't exile. You can use it again.
Yeah, this one doesn't exile.
In theory, you can just keep using it.
If it's in your graveyard and there are plenty of cards that bring back instants or sorceries from your graveyard. There are cards that let you cast instants and sorceries from your graveyard. So there are so many combos that you could just get this back, cast it again, take another turn, get this back, cast it again, take another turn. And it's so broken. It's so broken.
This was the last one on my list to get nixed because of it. And really it's just for my number 1, which isn't the most broken card ever. And it keeps getting reprinted. It's legal in Commander. It's restricted in Vintage. It's banned in Legacy, and it's Demonic Tutor.
Demonic Tutor. I love this card.
It's just my favorite card. I love the card. The art. And the art has never really disappointed me in this card. But
even from the beginning, like the original Demonic Tutor is... It's a little weird, but it's so simplistic that it fits so well with the card and what it does.
Yeah. And so it's simple. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle.
Yep. And it's any card. You can search for any card. It's put directly into your hand. It's not drawn, so it gets around draw effects. You don't have to reveal the card. And
you can take Time Walk.
Yeah. And that's the ridiculous thing about this is you don't have to reveal it. A lot of search for instant and sorcery, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand. You don't have to reveal the card you pick with Demonic Tutor. It's just pick a card, put it in your hand for 2 mana. On turn 2, you can get the most powerful card in your deck if you wanted to, which of course you want to. And it's crazy. Honestly, our favorite version of this card, 100%, was the
Strixhaven.
The Strixhaven Japanese alt art of it.
Art. It was
gorgeous.
Fantastic.
I couldn't find
the price for that. The price for that is down to $150.
No, it's gone down. Nice.
Yeah, so it might be affordable for me to get now.
I actually pulled the new Strixhaven Mystical Archive version of the English version of that. And I actually pulled it on stream a while back. That was really cool. I was super, super hyped about that. But
Yeah.
I love this card. It's so simple. It's so good. It's an instant include in pretty much any black commander deck because it's legal in Commander. You can only have one of it in your deck anyway. And it's not completely game breaking because of the way Commander is. And I play mostly Commanders. So this is an instant include if you have the money to buy a few copies of it. I love this card. It's so good. It's so good. I love that you picked this for your number one because it is a fantastic card.
Yeah, it's not the best, but I freaking love it. I just love the artwork on it. I love the simplicity of the card again, and that it's restricted or banned in a lot of cases, but it's not a card you can't play. You can still have fun with this card, you know.
Oh yeah. So that brings us to my number one, and my number one is a card that is very unique in that it allows you to play a game of Magic inside your game of Magic. It's a Charizard. This is my number one.
Sorry, I'm having problems with the mute option. Man, I love this card.
It's
for
just
real.
so ridiculous. So this was my number one. There were so many other cards, and you know, I'm much more familiar with a lot of the cards that are banned and what's going on. And there are so many broken cards in different formats, you know, in different, you know, in various things. But this is one of those that it's banned, completely banned. There is nothing else to it. It's banned.
This card makes nothing fun for anybody except for the person who played it.
It's
except
so
for the person who's
ridiculous.
intentionally trying to
to sabotage
ruin
everything.
everybody's days.
Yeah. And what makes it crazier is if you go into like the rulings and everything, it actually talks about a few things. There were some other cards I'm going to honorable mention just because they're so ridiculous. But with this one, if played, you can even play this strategically. So at the start of the sub game, you have to draw your initial hand of 7 cards, just like normal. But if one player has fewer than that, they automatically lose that. They automatically lose the sub game. And if both players have less than 7 cards, they both lose. So you both lose half of your life rounded up. And then like it's just so ridiculous, and I love it. I love everything about it. And honestly, the art you can see, it's fantastic. It's just this lady laying down, and she's so welcoming and inviting, and she's got a hookah in there, and she's in this tent, you know, it's the Arabian Nights thing going on, and she's just like, come and play with me again. You know,
again and again and again.
Like, I almost want to make a casual deck with this in it just to screw with people when they come over to play.
Yes,
it's great.
You got it. And so, no, that card's fantastic. I love it. There's a reason they don't print this card.
No, and they're never going to print this card.
Never
again.
going to. No,
there's just no way.
Brilliant.
So yeah, there is.
I've got a few others that I liked, like Prophet of Krufix.
Oh man, I have that, and I love Prophet of Krufix, and I had it in a Commander deck at one point, and then it got banned in Commander, and I was like, well, that completely ruined some of my combos.
Right. The max artifacts are obvious.
Mox artifacts. I'll correct you there. Mox.
Sorry. The Mox artifacts are.
That's all right.
The typing is so small on my shit.
Honestly, one of the ones that's also just straight banned, Chaos Orb, is probably one of the most ridiculous cards. It barely didn't make my list because it's just not as good or as intense as some of the others. But it's it has the weirdest mechanic that they now have pretty much exclusively in the unsets, so like the parody sets. You literally had to flip the card from a height of at least 1 foot. And then it has to turn over at least once completely. And whatever it touches is destroyed. So it could be your cards, your opponent's cards, it's so ridiculous. But there's no way anybody is playing anything like this. There's just no rhyme or reason to it, and it's so random and chaotic. Hence its name, Chaos Orb.
Right.
Yeah, that one almost was on my list.
There's like the Burning Wish is probably, it's not the only wish card, but it's one of the most broken wish cards. There's I like the Sundering Titan and the Sylvan Primordial.
Sylvan Primordial is a really good one. Again, I had that in one of my commander decks, and then it was banned from Commander.
Right. I mean, it's strong. It 6/8. It's got reach, so it can stop creatures with flying.
The biggest thing is being able to destroy target permanent. So you can destroy your opponent's lands while getting more lands of your own.
Yeah.
If you have a blink effect or something that like returns this to the field every turn, you just lock down your opponent so quickly. It's stupid. Absolutely stupid. But yeah, so depending on what format you're in, there are different cards that are banned in Standard and Modern and Vintage, Legacy. So there are so many different formats that have their own banned list, but there are some that, of course, like we've mentioned, are banned across all of them. I almost was going to mention Faceless Haven in my list. I almost picked that in my top 5. It would be in my top 10, but that is a banned card in Standard right now. Because of a combo with one of the new cards that came out in the D&D set. And I can talk more about that later. You can reach out and, ask me about that or look it up on your own.
He'll never stop talking if you ask him.
Dude, no joke. You get me talking about Magic the Gathering, and I know Felix knows it's hard to get me to shut up. I love Magic. It is so much fun. It's challenging. And it's so crazy when you come up with all these different combos and the way they work. So, but guys,
it's one of the cooler ones, and their committee works really hard to try and keep it fun and revitalize it.
But I will say some of the power creep in Magic is getting a little ridiculous when you have Standard cards that come out and are banned by the first tournament, So it's a little crazy seeing some of the power on some of these cards. But there are some old cards that just completely dwarf them. Guys, if you have a Magic card that you are a big fan of and that's banned, or you have one that you wish was unbanned, let us know. You can reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at 2dap2020 or 2dap2020, and then you can email us at 2dap2020@gmail.com. Comment on our YouTube video. Our YouTube channel is 2dap2020. There's a theme going on here.
What is it?
2dap2020.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I guess you want me to do this part. And of
I'm
course,
waiting on you, bud.
And of course,
next time on Two Dads and a Podcast.
Man, next week's the next week. We ain't got to worry about that right now.
Yeah.
Join us again next week, probably at our regular time and place, Wednesdays at nighttime-ish.
Yeah, in the evening.
Right, evening. And
afternoon
we'll do
if you're on the West Coast.
I don't think we're going to keep doing the banned cards next week. I don't think we're going to do them
We're going to stagger these ones up a little bit.
Stagger them like we do the Pokemon parties. Which I think we're moving to X and Y next.
Soon, yeah. When we do that one next. I'm not sure when we're going to do that one next, but it'll be soon enough.
And
yeah, as always, guys, thanks so much for listening.
We'll have a good night, you guys. Love you.
But yeah. Yes, Hellhound. My voice is starting to get on the mend. It's still a little raspy. It's still a little deeper than normal. That just means I can be movie announcer guy, I guess. But Yeah, we did. We waited a couple days this week to stream this and to record it because of my voice, because it was really bad on Wednesday. Like I was down to a whisper pretty much the entire day. It was bad.
Which is fine. Gave us some time to rethink what we were doing.
Yeah, so
but I'm gonna hop off and play Arceus.
Yeah, I'm jealous, dude. I'm not. Fucking Best Buy shipped it via FedEx instead of, because Best Buy lately they've been doing kind of like Amazon where they have their own trucks and stuff that'll drive out and drop shit off. But for whatever reason, they decided to do FedEx. And it hasn't even actually been shipped from FedEx yet. It just says it's ready to ship from FedEx.
Those bastards know what they're even doing.
It says estimated delivery is tomorrow, so hopefully I get it tomorrow. But this just leaves us another oh, yours isn't coming till next Saturday? Saturday. Okay, I read that wrong. Okay. I don't know why I was thinking next Saturday, but okay. But this gives me
to read.
This gives me time this weekend to finish up my playthrough, at least get to the Elite Four and beat the Elite Four. I'm hoping this weekend, at minimum, next Wednesday, and next weekend I will start on Arceus. So I might start a playthrough, like have two different games, one for casual play and one for streaming. So, but yeah. Hellhound, we can talk about that here in a little bit, but he wants to get off this way. That way? Yeah, that way. He wants to get off, play some Arceus. I do have some work to do, but if you are on Discord, we can just message on there. But I've got some stuff to do. I have not been uploading shorts over the last week, just with how busy I've been and, sick and back pain and all kinds of stuff. So, but, yeah. So take it easy, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Bye.
And Felix, you stay here for a second. I'm not done with you.
Okay, exit.